Yield, and now I recognize the Ranking Member Clark for her 5 minutes of questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you once again to all of our witnesses. I've been working hard on issues related to the rapid expansion of artificial intelligence for years now, and I maintain that there's really no way to retrofit data sets and outputs in an ever-evolving technology. You know, it's almost on automatic pilot now, and the more that we engage with it, the more sophisticated, if you will, the AI technologies become. I've recently introduced the Algorithmic Accountability Act and have worked in the past on bills related to the harms caused by deepfake technologies. I'm interested in the panel's views about how to combat dis and misinformation and how AI can be used in important decisions related to housing, employment, and education. I'd just like to go down the line, starting with you, Dr. Wade.
May I ask for a clarifying question?
Yes. How can industry, researchers, and Congress reduce the risks of AI when it comes to misinformation, disinformation, and discrimination?
Thank you. Yeah, so one of the vulnerabilities of AI is that AI itself is unable to provide reality testing risks, so it won't be able to itself know what's real or not, and that's one of the problems that we have. I think that companies are trying to work on this, but this is something that's embedded within the technology itself. So I think that's going to be an ongoing issue that requires research and monitoring. I think that's why transparency, which you had mentioned earlier, is going to be so helpful, because right now we're flying blind in a lot of these areas, and having access to information, if policymakers, regulators have access to information, that would be very helpful.
It's a good question, and I think if we think, how do these companies build and train these chatbots? They really are amazing pattern matching machines. They're not magic. They learn from patterns. And especially at the way that they've learned mental health is they say, where do you go to read a lot of mental health on the internet that's open and private? They go to Reddit. My team has reviewed where all of the chatbots are learning from. I can send you the paper. Most of them to date have taken information from Reddit. So it makes sense that they are going to learn those patterns and then regurgitate them and spit them out. The future generation may not go there, but if we understand where the data is coming from, it's very easy to see what the biases are, and it's a temporary way, put at least mitigation measures, but then at least have research that says, where does most of your data come from? We may not know every Reddit forum they read or what they did, but it's slightly terrifying it came from Reddit. We have to be careful. The next generation, right, of AI will have video. It'll have audio. It'll not just be written text. And where is it going to get that data from? That's where you can help us get ahead of it and put those rules in place. So again, we have one generation of AI. The next one is coming, and companies are even working on new large language models for sensors to work on health data from your wearable. So there's a new generation coming. This is not science fiction, but we can get ahead of it today. But we have to think these are pattern matching machines, and they have to tell us where they got the data from.
Thank you for your question. I agree with the other two witnesses. This is a lot about transparency and understanding, again, what goes into training data. The first generation of these tools were built primarily on data scraped from the internet. Increasingly, they are being built on the data from us and our engagement with them. And so right now we have very little transparency and certainly no requirements into understanding that whole chain of where the data comes from, how it is cleaned, how we remove personal information from it, and then how it is ultimately used again for retraining. So without any particular rules in place, we will continue, especially for us as researchers on the outside, be really unable to kind of parse what's going on in the background.
Very well. I continue to be very concerned about dark patterns we're seeing that are causing people to act against their own best interests, especially with generative AI chatbots, such as a chatbot suggesting deceptive choices and gathering user data without consent, manipulative timing to pressure the user into action. Some have pointed out that when X's Grok chatbot spewed out anti-Semitic and violent content, it was an example of dark design patterns that prioritize unfiltered responses over safety. Dr. King, what can be done to eliminate or at least reduce dark patterns in chatbots?
Right, that is an area I study, so I especially appreciate that question. In particular, the engagement focus of these current tools, I think, contributes to a lot of the concerns we have today, that they are really designed to keep you coming back for more and more and more. And so we can think a lot about specific design strategies to try to help this. We know a lot from social media. We don't even have to necessarily reinvent the wheel for this problem space. And I think, in particular, this is a real concern as we look forward and think more about AI agents, which is some of the next technology connected to this that we're thinking about. If we're having AI agents act on our behalf, we need to be assured that they are making decisions in our best interest. So without some sort of fiduciary duty or clear responsibility to take actions that benefit us, and rather than simply the commercial interests of the developers, then we won't make much progress in that space.
Very well. I'll yield back. Thank you for your indulgence, Mr.
The ranking member yields. The chair now recognizes the chairman of the